notification on your Facebook, and then you can share it.
On my Facebook?
Yes, ma'am. 1 second.
I did get it.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Excellent. Well, we're live now. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy schedule to have a special off the record. Peace, Mimi, to you as well. To spend some time with us discussing the history of the Vanguard and the women in the mission. Thank you, Sister Captain Shanasia, for taking time out of your busy schedule to, put us on and explain us, some history so we can have a better understanding of the foundation that we're standing on.
Oh, praise Allah. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm so honored to be able to directly speak with your august body of viewers to your podcast, which is growing every week. But I'm so honored, and of course, I feel that I'm obligated to come on to your podcast and do whatever I can to assist the Joshua generation.
Yes, ma'am. Jimmy Davis, walaikum salam, sir. Walaikum salam, Naima. All right, well, Sister Shanasia, can you explain to us what is a Vanguard?
Well, a Vanguard, according to our definition, is the one who is in the forefront of any military, of any focus, of any movement, of any organization. The one that is willing to sacrifice the most, the one that is willing to be available regardless to circumstances. The Vanguard is the one who overcomes all obstacles and eliminates all excuses.
Okay, excellent. And when was the first time that you ever, when did you hear the teachings? When did you hear the teachings?
Well, I first heard the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 1979. Mm-hmm. The first time that I saw the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was in Brooklyn, New York, in 1981. He did a series of lectures at Friendship Baptist Church called The Problems of Black Male-Female Relationships. And that was the first time that I saw him physically, was in 1980, 1981.
Excellent. And why did you accept the teaching?
Well, my background was with the Nation of Gods and Earths, the 5% Nation. And so I had become very familiar with the self-improvement, with the lessons, with the supreme lessons. And the self-improvement hadn't come out yet. That didn't come out until 1986. However, the supreme wisdom lessons I have become very familiar with my association with the 5% Nation. And so I immediately was attracted when I first heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, actually on cassette tape, was when I first heard him. And I wanted to know, who was this Black man? I wanted to know all that he could teach me. And so when I learned that he was coming to New York to do the series at Friendship Baptist Church, I was there. And he was there for 2 meetings back to back. Okay,
excellent. And when was your first time meeting the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Wow, Brother Joshua. Oh my goodness. Anyone who knows me personally knows never to ask me a question. Well, Shanasia, you remember? No, I never remember. Captain John remembers everything. Your mom, oh, they remember. I never remember. However, I think the first time that I physically met the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan personally was probably in 1993, right after, matter of fact, that wasn't even correct, but that was the first time that I was honored and blessed to be seated at his dinner table. That was in 1993 after the Javits Center event. And though some of us were invited to dine with him, and I received an invitation.
Excellent. And thank you, James Muhammad, for your words, sir. Now, Sister Shanasia, what was it like working in the early days with Dr. Khalid first. We'll start with Dr. Khalid first.
Well, it was an adventure, I would say. Dr. Khalid had an excellent reputation. May Allah be pleased with our brother for securing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. At one time, he did hold the assignment of Supreme Captain. And so he really loved Minister Farrakhan. He guarded him. We were told that he walked around with a cutout Bible prepared to defend the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And, and he brought energy to Muhammad's Mosque number 7 as the minister there for the time that he was there. And it was a great experience. Excellent.
Yes, ma'am. Now, who were the sisters that were like training you and in charge of the training of the sisters in New York and when you were there?
Well, you know what? I think even before I drop any names of those who were directly involved with my training, I think we must pay homage to the legacy of those women whose shoulders we stand on. And as we speak about the Vanguard, I want us as a community to never forget that the first Vanguard was Mother Clara Muhammad. She was an absolute epitome of a supreme Vanguard, because she definitely defended Islam and defended our nation. As a Vanguard, we're trained that we are to master our 7 units. We are to master how to keep house, how to act at home and abroad, how to cook, how to sew, and in general, I messed that up. But we are to master, because I'm nervous,
yes,
we are to master all of our 7 units. And Mother Clara Muhammad absolutely mastered them. She was there for her husband. She reared her children. She sacrificed everything. And we know that through her walk, her life and her death were all for Allah. So she was, in my eye, our first Vanguard. And of course, we have our First Lady, Mother Khadija Muhammad, Vanguard through and through. That if you ever get an opportunity to speak with Mother Khadija, you will hear the soldier in her every time. She speaks military speak. She loves the women. She loves our nation. And she's been an example for us from the time that I've been in the nation and of everything I've heard of her before that. We definitely want to recognize our mother, Tainetta Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with her. Another Vanguard. Yes, and also I was personally, now going back to what I was personally trained, I was personally had the honor to be trained by one of the women that was directly trained by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. There were actually 4 captains that he would call to Chicago and give them what they needed to raise up the Black woman in North America, to civilize and refine her. And these women were Sister Portia Pasha, whose sister National Captain Emeritus, Vanguard Captain Emeritus Sharifa referenced when she was on your podcast. Sister Portia Pasha was in the seat of the National Vanguard Captain in that time, and she would come. She's from DC, and she would come to sit with the Honorable, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, along with Sister Huday Sharif, who was from the West Coast, Sister Nettie, who was from Detroit, and Sister Clotel, who was from New York, currently known as Sister Captain Amina Rasul Muhammad. And the 4 of them would go and sit with the messenger, and then Sister Amina Rasul directly trained me and gave me and all of our class, what the messenger gave to her for us. And she did tell us that she would come, and they would all come with note and pad. And it came a time where the messenger said to them, put away your notes, put away your pen, because I have given you have received everything that you need to raise the Black woman, to civilize, cultivate, and refine her. Sister Amina Rasul, may Allah be pleased with her, and with all of them, was a wonderful trainer of women. She had the largest class in our nation, over 1,000 sisters in her MGT class, and she was the captain to Brother Malcolm X, as well as to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. and she came back to help him when he came to rise up the nation again. She came back to help him in Mosque number 7. Also, I have to pay homage to our national captain emeritus, Sister Captain Bessie Jean Muhammad. She was the national captain when I registered in the Nation of Islam, and she was no joke. And she was all about discipline, all about security at the same time. She wanted us to be refined, and she wanted us to be what they call what was that term they use? Kindly killers or gentle yet deadly. She wanted us to be as feminine as we were disciplined. And we loved her for that. We also, of course, the captains at that time, of course, we had Sister Captain Bessie Jean, and then after that was Sister Captain Charlene Muhammad, who was previously her first officer, and she was our national captain. And how the national captain that trained me directly was Sister National Captain Aisha Muhammad, because she had been in Mosque number 7 as well. And then she became our National Vanguard captain. And with that, the curriculum just sprouted. The Vanguard class came up and became very strong under Sister National Captain Emeritus Aisha Muhammad. I have to pay homage. I know this is a long answer, but I feel obligated. I feel obligated because we don't really have much to give each other. We are the poor righteous teachers, but at least what we can give each other is appreciation. And I so appreciate my National Vanguard captain. After Sister Aisha was Sister Sharifa. And I think she was my National Vanguard captain for most of my tenure as a Vanguard. And she dedicated and sacrificed so much to make sure that we were convicted and also that we were secure in what we knew. So when we came through, we were not playing. We came to work. We came to get the job done. And because of her training, we did just that. Sister Captain Jana, who is now the regional captain of the Eastern region, was my Vanguard captain. Oh my goodness, that woman was awesome. She still is awesome. She was a Vanguard from a young teenager, and she came up through the ranks, became the Vanguard captain, was on that post probably for about between 10 and 15 years. She was on that post. And then she transitioned into the captain and the regional captain, and she trained me all through that. So, and lastly, my MGT captain, who again sacrificed. She worked with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his family. She still assists Mother Khadijah as her assistant, and that's Sister Captain Emeritus Karima Muhammad. She really gave us a good foundation. And those are the women that I look to, as well as a myriad of others.
Excellent. And thank you all for watching. I want to thank Brother James for checking in from Hartford. Number 14, Sister Sean says, thank you, Sister Shanasia, for representing us well. Sister Brother Khalid says, modest. Sister, hold on, I saw somebody else. 1 second. Oh, Brother Jimmy Davis says, San Antonio checking in. Thank you, sir. Now, yes, ma'am. Now, Sister Shanasia, what was it like working with Minister Conrad in New York?
It was innovative. I think that's the best word that I can put that at. It was innovative. Brother Conrad came into New York in 1990. And at that time, he was the national youth minister prior to that, and still on that assignment when he was given the head of Muhammad's Mosque number 7. And he really networked. I think that's one thing that we can really give him credit for, is that he really networked Muhammad Mosque number 7 with the grassroots and the hip hop community. Right around the time that Tupac got shot, he had a big hip hop forum, and the community came out. At the same time, when we were getting ready to when we had the LOCs, and we were getting ready to do also the Million Man March, a lot of the grassroots Pan-Africanists and other activists, such as Dr. Leonard Jeffries, such as Viola Plummer from the December 12th movement, such as Elam Bay Breath, may Allah be pleased with him, and Dr. Ben Yakelman, who gave his library to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He loved him so much. He was a historian, a Black historian. And so prior to Brother Conrad coming, these were friends of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let me state that for sure. But they weren't necessarily networked with Muhammad's Mosque number 7 at the present time. And so I think that really, we really owe that credit to Brother Conrad. So it was wonderful working with him.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am. Now, you said the December 12th movement. Could you please clear that for us? Because right now, the Central Park 5 is trending because of Netflix and stuff. So could you, explain that to us, what that is?
Right. The December 12th movement came into prominence right around the time of the Central Park 5 situation, which we now see is trending, and when they're showing the case of the 5 boys. And Muhammad's Mosque number 7 became entangled with the December 12th movement at that time because Yusef Salam and his mother Sharon and others frequented the mosque at that time. The FOI definitely, because they were getting death threats once he was released on bail. And so he had the security of the FOI. If you've seen his documentary lately trending, you'll see the FOI with him. You'll see the FOI in the courtroom, pretty much taking up a whole queue. So the December 12th movement was a grassroots organization of Pan-Africanists. They really and still are on the battle cry for reparations. And one of their leaders, actually Elam Bay Breath, may Allah be pleased with him, was the head of the December 12th movement, as well as Viola Plummer and now an Assemblyman Charles Barron. But they worked very closely with us, and I believe that they still do in New York.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am. What was it like, the climate during Madison Square Garden when the Most Honorable Louis Farrakhan came to New York?
Oh my goodness. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And I say that because it was the best of times because it really had us as members of the Nation of Islam really garnered together from all over the region and ultimately all over the country. Because that was, prior, this was in 1985. Now, in 1984, as we know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan commissioned the FOI to secure Jesse Jackson. And right around that time is when the Jews really started calling for not only Jesse Jackson's death, but also the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But fast forward to 1985, when now the minister, we're promoting in New York for the Power at Last Forever at Madison Square Garden. Now there's an uptick of calls for the death of our beloved minister. It was very tense. It was very tense to the fact that the MGT, we were given instructions as to how we should travel and when and where on our curfews, because it was a very tense environment. But we knew the victory was ours at all times. But we just did, of course, we did not like the fact that, our minister was being disrespected in this manner. But he's the victor, and he will continue to be the victor. Yes,
ma'am. Thanks a lot. What was your function at Madison Square Garden?
I was on security. I was Vanguard.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I was Vanguard. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. Now, what was it like working with Ben Chavis as the minister of the mosque in New York?
It was a little different. That was also, I would say, also innovative, also cutting edge, because Minister Ben had come into New York with his first assignment with the nation as being the minister over Mosque number 7. He brought a great toolbox of experience because he had previously been the executive director of the NAACP. And he just had a lot of organizational, a large organizational skill set to bring us together. It was different. But it was exactly what we needed. Allah always sends us what we need to grow us. And that was an experience that absolutely grew us together.
Wonderful. We are coming next to the attack on the mosque in 1994, but I want to first stop and give thanks to all of these sponsors because this We got a lot of sponsors. So I want to thank you all. I want to thank my sister Miriam for ABC I Love Me. Get her book on Amazon. I want to thank Politically Oppressed for his t-shirts. I want to thank Minister Gerald in Kentucky for his sponsorship. I want to thank Sister Shanasia, Capt Shanasia, for her sponsorship. And I want to thank Captain Abdul Salim, formerly known as Brother Sherwood from Brooklyn, New York.
He's actually the first officer. He's actually the
first officer with Nature's Finest security firm. I want to thank him for his sponsorship, and also give my second book, Cleopatra's, on Amazon. Thank you all very much, and thank you all for watching. I want to thank. Okay, so my sister Naima says this is a great history lesson. My sister says, I don't know. I'm going to butcher your name, sister. I don't know how to say it, but she says Jadea Spencer. Jadea says, hey, Auntie. Chriselle Leandre puts a lot of hearts. And my sister Mimi says, thank you for your service and sacrifice throughout the years. Now, could you please explain to us what was it like to be in 1994 when the police attacked the mosque, and what was the circumstances and the climate?
Wow, I'm not sure if it was 94. I thought it was 92, but I could be wrong.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I thought it was 92. Wow, that was very tense time. To give you a little background, it was on a Sunday. At that time, we were having our meetings at 2:00, and it was on a Sunday afternoon, and a call had gone out. So we were told, allegedly. A call had gone out to the police department stating that we, the Muslims, were holding a hostage at the mosque. So with that, Giuliani, the same mayor that was over the Central Park 5, was very anti-Muslim, as he is today. And the police department came and swarmed onto Muhammad's Mosque number 7, or I would say tried to, because the FOI entertained them very well, as Sister Dr. Ava Muhammad would say, entertained them very well. And so they were unsuccessful in gaining entry into our mosque. The beautiful part about it was that the community really rallied behind the Muslims. We saw the soldiers in the streets. You know, as Messenger Muhammad has been said to say, some of my best soldiers are in the streets. And so we saw those soldiers who came out and rallied behind us and actually entertained along with us, because their cry was, the Muslims are peaceful. The Muslims don't bother anyone. Why are you bothering the Muslims? So it was a very tense moment. Some other activities came behind that. Legal activities came behind that. However, we were again the victor. All praises due to Allah.
All praises to Allah. Excellent. Brother Ryan X Cooper says, Assalamu alaikum salam. He formerly attended Mosque number 7 before he relocated to North Carolina in 1991. Brother Daniel E. Something, Brother Daniel. Walaikum salam. Sir, he sends a greeting to you as well. Yes, ma'am. What was it like working at the Million Woman March?
Oh my goodness. Woo! The Millions Woman March. You know, after the Million Man March, you know, everyone wanted a Million March.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, that's just everyone wanted a Million March. The Millions Women's March was a beautiful gathering of women. I remember that day clearly, and I firmly believe that what made the day so beautiful was the presence of the women of the Nation of Islam. Our First Lady, Mother Khadija, our mother, Tanetta Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with her, our sister, Dr. Ava Muhammad. Winnie Mandela was also there, and it was and a host of others. And so I really think that that's what made that forum a beautiful gathering of women. It was a dreary day for those of us who remember. It rained all day practically. It was cold and it was wet. But you know what? That's all right, because that's why the Vanguard show up, you know?
Yes,
and that's what we did. We showed up. We did what we were trained to do. We got our principals in safely and out safely. and we brought the peace. You know, that's what the Nation of Islam does. You know, when we come into any arena, any event, any area, community, we actually settle the hearts of our people. And that's our role. So we brought the peace to that event, and that's my memory of it.
Okay, excellent. Now, Sister Captain, all of these years that you've been working under the death threats of the minister and the ministers maybe of Mosque Number 7, have you ever felt a fear for your life, or maybe received death threats, and how did you overcome the fear to keep soldiering?
Yes, I actually have, and let me, if I may, step back for one moment, because I want to pay homage to our student and respect our student national captain, Sister Naima Muhammad, formerly known as Sister Sandy Muhammad, for her love of us and herself to aid the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and to keep, give us the culture and refinement. She's just such a beautiful, beautiful woman. So I absolutely want to thank her. I want to thank all of our student regional captains. I have a bias toward mine, Sister Regional Captain Sadaka Muhammad, got to get that out there. But all of our regional captains and all of the women who work so that I can have this platform and so that the messenger's work continues. So I wanted to stop and say that. So brother, to answer your question, Brother Joshua, yes, I've been personally in the line of fire, literally, protecting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. There's been several events, as a matter of fact. There's been several times when, people thought that they could try us, and we had to, just, educate them a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Just educate them a little bit and let them know that, they need to study up on us because we're not those girls.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We don't back down, and we fear no one but Allah. And so there was one time I remember, oh my goodness, where there was an actual assassination attempt on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He was teaching in Baltimore. I think it was at the University of Baltimore. And they actually wanted to assassinate our minister at this event. And so we were all posted up, and I was assigned to a state trooper, this female, and she had her firearm, and I had my firearm, Allah and his messenger, and my training, us. And and there was a time when I actually had to step to her, to let her know, don't even make a step. You stand right where you are, and I'll stand where I am, and we'll leave here peacefully, or we won't. So that was one time when I had a little exchange with her. Another time we were in Detroit for Savior's Day, and this is a very good training and teaching moment. And I've trained on this point over the years since then. So I was actually a checker. And I always say check post is the best post because that's where you cross our borders. So I know other posts may seem a little glamorous, but believers, check post is the best post. And so I was a checker, and there was I'm gonna correct that. I was a spotter on check post, and there was a police officer who came in with her firearm. And of course, the checker called for a spotter, and I explained to her that we could not allow a firearm into our event. And she went on to tell me that she was an officer of the law. She was a peace officer. She could not be separated with a firearm. And I told her that was very unfortunate. However, she could not bring her firearm into our event. And so she went on and on about how she had purchased the ticket. And I immediately reached down in my boot, and this is the training moment, always carry an extra cost of the ticket price. So I gave her back, I refunded her money and told her, I was sorry for the inconvenience, but here's the money price of your ticket, but you cannot bring in your firearm. Lo and behold, somehow the sister went and put her firearm away somewhere off the premises and came back, and I checked and allowed her back in. But that was another time where there could have possibly been a threat because she was not very pleasant. Very adversarial, and she had the the carnal weapon, but we were ready for that. So those are two that come to mind.
Excellent, yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah for you, using your training in the best way. Now you are a judge at the drill competition.
I Allahu Akbar. I
What-
love the exercise of the gods.
Yes, ma'am. What is it about drill that you have such a love for?
Well, I think one reason why I have such a love for the drill is because I was not the most talented driller. I had to really work hard to be a part of the drill team. I came in with 2 left feet. My left was my right and my right was my left. I just had to work at it, but eventually I got it. And I was on a national award-winning national competition team where we won. I was on a regional team where we won a couple of times. And so eventually I did become a good driller. And so that's one reason, because I know that it trained me that if you work hard, you can accomplish what you will. Also, I just love the discipline of it, just being a Vanguard at heart, loving the military like I do. I know that knowing the history of other armies and studying the history of other armies and studying Master Sun Tzu, I know how important formation is. I know how important I know how important following the order is. I know how important following not just the order, but the DI or the lead without question, without suspicion or doubt. So when I see that in action from the drill teams, from the junior MGT on up, it does my heart so good. It also exhibits that we have that discipline in our nation. And let me say this, I see that it seems to be dwindling. From our last competition, we did not have as many participants or the level of competition that we're accustomed to seeing. And so I want to send a challenge out to all levels, junior MGT, junior FOI, Vanguard, MGT, Vanguard, and absolutely the Fruit of Islam, to show our military drill to those who are coming behind us and to the world. They need that's really the only insight is Savior's Day, that the world sees the formation nationally of our military. They need to know that. They need to see that. They need to know this ain't no plaything.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
I challenge the FOI, the Vanguard, the MGT, the junior divisions as well to practice and bring your competition to Savior's Day.
Excellent. And thank you. And thank you all for watching. Walaikum salam to Monique. I'm going to mess your name up. Waller, Nesbit, Muhammad, Ricky.
Oh, assalamu alaikum, Sister Monique. Sister Monique is my oldest friend. We were in middle school together. She's actually the sister in charge in Albany, New York. And we've known each other since we were 12 years old. That's almost 6 decades.
Wow, that's real sisterhood and real friendship. Yes, ma'am. And Chrisette Leandre says, loving this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's Sister Christella.
Chrisella. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all, for these names. Yes. Sorry, y'all, for these names. Okay, so, now, Sister Shanasia, what advice would you give to future mothers?
Well, the same advice that was given to me. That's your first post. It matters not what anything else that you're presented with to serve our nation. You cannot serve our nation any better than by rearing your children according to the teachings of Allah and the Honorable, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Motherhood is everything. You're the first mother. You're the first teacher. You're the first nurse. You're the first God. And so, there are many, including Mother Clara Muhammad, Mother Khadijah Muhammad, and Mother Tynetta, who sacrificed their children to do this work. There are many, Sister Sharifa Muhammad, Sister Shanasia Muhammad, Sister Jana Muhammad, to name a few, who sacrificed our children so that you don't have to. That you don't have to. So we, if we knew better, we would have done better, but the time dictated what it was. And this time, mothers, know that rearing your children is the most important thing you could do for our nation, because no one else is responsible for rearing your children. It takes a village to raise a child, but only a mother can rear a child. Don't pass that off onto anyone else, the rearing of your children. I know that I have a short story, but there was a time I was in a laborers meeting and my daughter was outside calling for me, and someone said to her, well, your mother is in a meeting. I immediately opened the door and I said, please never deny my children access to me. When you asked me to assign this post, you knew I was a mother, and I never relinquished rearing my children. So you make sure that your children always have access to you. There's nothing going on so important in the nation that you cannot secure your child first. And if you find you're not doing that, then you need to ask to be properly relieved from any assignment that interferes with you rearing your child. Because where are we going to be? You have to indoctrinate the love for the minister and the love for our nation and Allah and his messenger in your children. And if you're not present, you don't know if who you're leaving your child with is indoctrinating that same love.
I mean, praise be so. I love to hear that kind of talk from the sisters, because Lord have mercy, that's what every FOI desires, to have an MDT who speaks like that. Thank you very much.
All praises due to Allah. I am of nothing myself. This is what I've been trained. I'm only giving what has been given to me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you again. But Charles LC is on deck from Dallas, Texas. My brother that was checking out this beautiful conversation with Sister Captain. Thank you, Brother Charles El Muhammad, for always coming through. My sister Mimi says yes, ma'am. Naima before. All right, thank you all for watching. Brother Minister Gerald, I gave you a shout out for your sponsorship earlier. I'm glad that you were watching as well. Sister Captain, what advice would you give to future wives?
Wow. Well, first, love yourself. If you have not learned to love yourself, then you're not prepared to be a wife. Because if you don't know what it takes to love you, you cannot help your husband to love you. So that's the first thing that we have to do. Make Allah sufficient. Don't be so thirsty. Okay? Make Allah sufficient in your life first and live your life. If you're young, if you haven't had experiences of travel, that's one thing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us when we were young, because we were following him up and down and to and fro. So we had the experience of travel. He took us out of the country. It was just beautiful. And I would love to see all young women have that experience. You have your sister bonds. Prepare yourself, because your true sister will tell you your faults. And you need to learn to overcome your faults. And you also need to learn to accept critique and criticism, because you're certainly going to get it from your husband. And if the first time you're hearing it is from your husband, you're not going to handle it as well. So I would say learn to love yourself and have your life experiences, and then support that Black man. Do not mirror him up to the soap opera, to Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives, or whatever it is that you're consuming right now. That is not the FOI. That's not his journey. That's not his mission or his task. And so we have to stop fantasizing about what marriage is and look at the history of those who are successfully married. Look at the domestic life of the messenger of Allah. Look at the domestic life of the messenger in our midst of Allah. Look at counsel with those before you marry, with those who have longevity in their marriage, to see and get as much out of them as you can. Go through the proper courtship process. Messenger Muhammad was all wise and does everything right and exact.
Yes, ma'am.
Messenger Muhammad is all wise, I stand corrected, and does everything right and exact. That courtship process is a time to find out if there is compatibility to move forward. So I say to wives, don't let these brothers come at you through the back door. Have them go through the brother captain to the sister captain, follow the process, because these are those who have your best interests at heart. And the brother may need a little bit more development, and his captain can tell him that, brother, why don't you work on this area and then come back to me? But if he comes to you underdeveloped, you don't know any different. He cute, his suit is tight, he buff,
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know? And so he rolling with the team, you know? So for you, you know, that's not the criteria of a husband. None of that is the criteria. So that's what I would say to sisters who are seeking to be married. And then as a wife, support your husband. Know that his home has to be his refuge. Know that everything else in his life is war. And so when he comes in, make sure that the bean soup is hot. Make sure that the complaints are minimal. Give him a moment to take off his, you know, and, you know, take this world off of him. This is not from Sister Shanasia. This is from Sister Captain Amina Rasul. This is from Mother Khadijah Muhammad. This is our training, sisters. And those of us who adhere to the training, we are successful. Yeah, that's what I would say. I'm sorry. And Joshua, please feel free to cut me because I'm long-winded.
Oh, no,
And I may have answered your question 5 minutes ago, and I'm still going. So please feel free to say thank you, Sister Shanasia. And
no, ma'am. I would not do that. Thank you all for watching. Sister Captain, what do you want your legacy to be?
oh, Allah and His Messenger. Oh, that's gonna bring me to tears. I want to be known. I want it to be said of me that I exhibited that my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. That I kept my word when I gave my pledge to follow the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That I went where he said go, and I stayed from where he said stay from, and I listened to him. I want my legacy to be that above all else, sisterhood was my most treasured jewel. That there was nothing more important to me besides Allah and His Messenger than my sisterhood. And that if there's a sister who has a need that I can fill, whether I know her name or not, I'm your sister. And I will strive to do that. I want my legacy to be that I upheld those who went before me and I did not dishonor them. And I want my legacy to be that I was not a registered Muslim, but I was a Muslim girl in training and in the general civilization class, you see, because there's a difference. Because you write a letter and you're registered, but an MGT and an FOI is one who submits themselves to the training. And there's a great difference. So, you know, I answered that question because it was posed, but legacy is not something that I attach to myself. You know, my purpose now, you know, Allah and His Messenger and the Holy Quran teaches us that it's a blessed person who knows their purpose. And I do believe I know my purpose. And I believe that my purpose is to train the women in Islam and in North America, in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and particularly in the security, because that's where my heart is. My heart is in security. I've been in different assignments, but I really love our security training. And I love to impart what was given to me by the captains that I mentioned, by your mother, Sister Captain Jana. I want to give that to the sisters that are coming behind me, Sister Regional Captain LaShonda, can't leave her out, you know, and all of those who have worked in security. So but legacy, I don't know. That's a strong word.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I thank everyone for watching today. We have been definitely informed and fed some great jewels and knowledge from Allah and His Messenger through Sister Captain Shanasia Muhammad. And we thank you for your hard work, your sacrifice. On behalf of myself and my family, we want to thank you, but also your family for the sacrifice, because we know that it is a sacrifice of the family as well. thank you, Sister Captain, for coming on off the record and having this great conversation with us. And thank y'all for watching. I'm going to put it on YouTube. You can subscribe, like Joshua Muhammad off the record on YouTube.
Thank you, sir. And may I just take a brief moment for thanking my children, Sister Amika and Sister Radiant, and my husband, Brother Eddie Muhammad, for their sacrifice of their mother and their wife. Brother Joshua, I'm proud of you. Stay off the record. Don't worry about the record.
Yes, ma'am.
Make your own record. Break all your records. We are so proud of you. We are so proud of you. May Allah continue to bless you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.